So by now, I guess pretty much everyone kind of knows that the big news is Supergirl will be ending after season 6. I guess it wasn't a big surprise. I think a lot of people have been talking about this during season 5 when it was on, and after the announcement that of the Superman and Lois show, I think a lot of people suspected it, especially with the way, the cast, some of the cast members have been acting, some of the writers, they've been very much kind of, I don't give a shit anymore, I'm just gonna say whatever the hell I want and I don't care who I offend. That's the kind of attitude they've had, and more recently, so I feel like it's not a surprise to anybody. I think what hurts people more, what kind of makes them sad, is that, the show had so much premise, and because it was in the wrong hands, it was in the hands of people who just couldn't give a flying shit about it, that it just lost everything. But I want to start this little video with one question, because I've been trying to answer this since last night when I first read this, when it first appeared on my Twitter feed. I've been trying to answer it. What is the story of Supergirl? What is it? Usually, with a show or a book, any kind of medium that tells a story, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A story that we can track and trace so that when someone asks us what it's about, we can tell them the beginning, the middle, and the end. Usually we start somewhere, we go on a journey, and then we end at the destination. So what is the story of Supergirl? I haven't been able to answer it because, for me, there isn't one. The show is so up in the air, insanely unbalanced, and hiddly-piddly that there is no actual way to tell what the story is. The CW gained this show at the end of season 1, and they didn't do anything with it. They put it in the hands of people who are very bad at their jobs. One of them, Rovna, let's face it, kept it because of his wife. Anybody else would have been fired. And to be honest, this is where this is very annoying, because you've got 6 seasons by the end of this show. 6 seasons in total, and nothing happened. We didn't see any progression of character growth for anyone. And when someone did have character growth, to fit a plot and a narrative that they wanted to spin, that character was yanked right back. There was never any character growth for anyone, particularly Kara. What can we say about Kara? We can't say anything. She was their lead, and yet nothing. When I go back and I watch season 1, she has so much premise and so much. She's this hero, but she's so also vulnerable and raw and flawed and mixed up. We come into more recenter seasons and she has to be inhuman in that I know she's not human, obviously she's an alien, but what makes her different is that she feels all these things. In season 3, they bring her mother back. She's not dead. And there's just nothing. She feels nothing. She talks about this dude who she dated for like 2 weeks or something, and that's it. Bye! You thought she was dead. You watched your planet explode as she sent you away. You thought that she was consumed by the flames, and yet there's nothing. It doesn't echo the anger and the rage and the pain that she felt in season 1. It doesn't make any sense. Then in season 5, when she sees Argo blown up and her mother die before her eyes again, there's nothing. We do not deal with the fallout, we do not deal with the consequences, we do not deal with the pain, we deal with nothing. The whole show has been an empty, vapid project that, I saw someone post on my Twitter feed the other week, or a couple of months ago, I can't remember when, but they reposted again last night, and it's so on point. Who are they writing this show for? It isn't viewers, any viewer. It's not for people who ship couples on this show, anyone. It's not for general viewers. It's not for anyone, and this is why the ratings dropped. Because in season 4, remember, the ratings were high. They were getting praise. They were actually working. Once they got rid of the whole Lena and James debacle, actually the end of season 4 was actually really good, when they had actually these women working together and solid, and it was actually good and it was actually promising. They start the beginning of season 5 with this. It's gonna be the fight for Lena's soul, but that's what they run with constantly. Is Lena gonna be evil? Is she gonna be evil? And she never went evil. That was their thing. She's gonna be evil, and 1 minute Kara believes in Lena entirely. Oh, and the next minute she changes her mind because she might be evil. Kara was never consistent. Ever consistent. And this, yeah, we can all be inconsistent and change our mind, but the fact is that if you so ardently believe in someone, you don't suddenly just change that based on a flimsy little... Like in season 2, Kara watched Lena do something. Right now I can't remember what it was, but it was like something like press kryptonite or something. To be honest, a lot of this show kind of just blurs from my mind because it's just... ugh. And Kara still believed the best in Lena, and she didn't even know her that well. In season 3, so that we could have the whole suddenly James is desperately in love with Lena, and he was just mean to her because he was just loved her, we needed to turn Kara against Lena so that James could prove to Lena that he actually believed in her. So we had to see this whole suddenly Kara doesn't believe Lena, and she's skeptical of everything she does, and she might have kryptonite. Well, yeah, they do have kryptonite in the DEO, but that doesn't seem to be a problem for you. Like, it's kind of obvious why they have it as well. I mean, seriously. So what is the story of Supergirl? As I said, usually a story has a fixed beginning, a middle, and an end. But Supergirl has no story. It has a beginning. And we see season 1, when Kara finds her powers again to save her sister. And we see this bond between these sisters that is kind of unbreakable. Even when Alex kills Kara's aunt, still there's this bond between them that's greater than anything. I said it before that the true love story of Supergirl maybe isn't one of, oh, this guy loves this girl and this girl loves this guy, or these girls love each other. The true love story of Supergirl maybe is the Danvers sisters. And these sisters who are not blood related, they're from different Earths. They grew up with different beliefs and different ideas and different dreams, but yet together they find a bond and they become family. And despite everything, this remains the same. There is no other meaningful bond in Supergirl than the bond between Alex and Kara. For me, if I look beyond that positive message of Alex and Kara, which the show after season 1 kind of continuously downgraded, and we saw other people replaced and copy and pasted into Kara or Alex's space. You know, this happened in season 2. We saw Monel take Alex's place, and Alex was kind of shunted off to be with Maggie. You know, whatever your opinion, I didn't like Maggie's treatment of Kara, so sorry, she was very jealous. That's my opinion. Anyway, we saw these break the two because it's quite apparent in this world of Supergirl. You can't have a meaningful relationship with your sister or your friends or your family and also have a relationship with someone. It's impossible. This show has never been able to balance the two things. I don't know what they think real life is, that once you get into a relationship with someone, you just abandon everyone else because you can't quite manage the two things. It doesn't make any sense at all. And if that happens, either you're emotionally invested too much in your relationship, in which case that's unhealthy, or the person that you're with is kind of toxic and trying to take you away from your family, and that is a warning sign to look out for, by the way. The other story was Supergirl. The one Supergirl will be renowned for, because it overshadows all the little rays of good, and that's the queerbaiting. I've made enough videos about this. The queerbaiting. And they're constant, it's not queerbaiting, we're not queerbaiting, no. They're not getting together, you know. You queerbaited. You queerbaited the whole fucking show. Ever since Lena entered in season 2, you queerbaited. Absolutely. That's what you did. And the choice of direction and acting, combined with the story that you told and the narrative that you spun and the way you promoted it, yeah, you queerbaited the whole thing. The whole thing. Like, I understand why an actor would do certain choices in what they do. I get that. I feel like it's an actor's job to kind of read things. I mean, as much as I guess as much as they say they don't read into, I feel like they are putting their interpretation into something. And that's not always a bad thing. I feel that can be a good thing. Because I feel like that's the point of acting. To, like, be creative and... But a director kind of directs them in the right direction. And, like, no, we don't need it like this. Let's do it like this. Your eyes are far too long in her cleavage there. What are you doing? Come on, man. Seriously. They did that a lot, okay? They did that a lot, right? A lot. A lot. No friend spends that much time in their friends' boobs. I'm just gonna put that one out there. My friends would be like, hey, excuse me, none of that. None of that. My eyes are pure, please. I'm sorry, I can't take the show seriously anymore. It's, I am filming this in the daytime, and unfortunately, society functions in the daytime. And as I live in a densely populated town, everyone decides to come out to play when I press record. And the dogs of the neighborhood as well decide that they need to form a choir and do a little song, including my own dog, which is a pain in the butt, and that's one of the reasons why I named her after Lex Luthor. Yeah, she's a pain in the butt. But not bald, so, you know. But there's plenty of time to change that. I mean, one science experiment gone wrong and she's bald and she's trying to kill me like Lex Luthor tried to kill Superman. In the comics, of course. This is the comics. Anyway, let's get back. I kind of feel like it's not a coincidence as well. We kind of get Superman and Lois, and then things go down the pan. Because as I said, season 4, the end of season 4, they ended on a high. And they're billing season 5 as this fight for Lena's soul. It's the fight for Lena's soul. And listen, barring a few little hiccups at the beginning of season 5A, I feel like it was actually really good. The interactions between Kara and Lena were amazing. Especially the confrontation at the Fortress of Solitude. That was brilliant. That scene was one of the best scenes throughout all of the seasons. It was beautifully painful and raw, and I thought it was excellent. And I thought, maybe they're getting their shit together. And then they come back in season 5B. Yeah, we all know how that happened. Another story of Supergirl is the fact that the show's creators never seemed to learn. They repeated the actions over and over and over again that were unpopular by the audience. They never learned that actually the people that they're creating the show for, not just shippers, I mean people of just in the general audience, you know, like myself. They don't want to see the same crap. So they're doing this definition of madness where they're repeating the same actions and expecting different results. They're in this universe where anything is possible. Absolutely anything is possible. They can go to multiple multiverses and do anything. Their lead is an alien who can fly and shoot lasers from her eyes. They have this super intelligent freaking scientist there. And yet, they didn't do anything. Their lack of imagination, their lack of desire to tell any story that would capture your imagination and just grip you every week until you just can't wait for the next week to come so you can see the next episode to see what will happen. There's nothing of this. There's no desire, there's no need, there's no pride in work. I'd be ashamed to say I work on this show. I'd be ashamed. Now, I know there's a lot of talk from people, certain people, not everyone, about, you know, the lead. She's had a baby now, so she has different priorities. Please stop saying that, because women work and have children, okay? Work and have children. Also, your point doesn't make any sense. Melanie Scofrano, the lead of Wynonna Earp, has 3 children. 3 children. She still works. And she still is the lead in Wynonna Earp. And she was pregnant through season 2. So your point makes no sense. And there are multiple actresses who have children and still work. Please stop making Melissa Benoist feel or sound like some 1950s Stepford wife. Because quite frankly, it's alarming that you think that this is what women are. There are another section of people who do believe that she kind of just wanted to end it. And I'm not going to speculate on that because I don't, without actually knowing, I can't say. I feel like they knew a lot longer than just now that the show was gonna end. I feel like 5B is this half-assed attempt at an end. I don't know, I feel like it's like when you're in a relationship with someone and you just want to leave and you just can't be bothered anymore. You just put out the least effort in everything you do. Just end it. Just to end it. And you hope that by putting the least effort in, they'll say, for fudge's sake, can you just do something? Or just... You want them to break up with you. I feel like that may be closer to the bone. I don't know. The fact that the Superman and Lois show seems to be kind of rewriting the Supergirl, or the Superverse, if you will, it seems kind of disrespectful. It seems really strange. Like, what? Does Supergirl just never happen now? The news that season 6 will be kind of like a rewrite of season 5B. I have to tell you, I've never, ever come across creators with so little imagination, so little desire to create anything passionate and desirable. It's your last season. You should be rounding up loose ends. You should be delivering something. Do you want us? Do you want to make us cry? Are you gonna kill Kara? Are you gonna kill Alex? Please don't kill Alex, please. I've read a story where they kill Alex, and that fic, I hate it. They waited to the last frickin'... And there was no trigger warning. No trigger warning at all, and I just... Anyway. Do you want to reward people for watching, for going through torture for 6 seasons? Because, as I said, what is the story of Supergirl? Usually there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. But there isn't a middle. There is no middle. Kara's development as a character have been set back so many times, pulled back, yanked back. I don't know what she is. I don't know who she is. We know she loves food. And we know that any man who shows her any attention, they're usually scumbags, she just rolls right over and says, hey, cool, let's do this. I'm sorry, this is how I see how they wrote her for me. It really makes me so angry, and it makes me really sad, because from season 1, you have this character gifted to you, and she's pretty awesome, right? And what do? You destroy her. You destroy her and you make as many male characters as you can stamp on her head. Like, why? Why? Because noble people can't date, right? We went into season 2 with James and Kara dating. Okay, now whether I agree with them dating in the first place, for me it was a little weird. Like Lucy kind of said it, so it was so, which seems to be the format of Supergirl. Someone says it into existence and it is. But okay, I mean, that's just my opinion. Other people disagree, and that's their right, but it's also my right to have this opinion. But at least James was a character in season 1 who wasn't a douchebag. He was nice. He was a decent man. And he was. He was likable, he was kind, he was decent, and he treated Kara with respect, and he liked her. I don't know about love, because his character seemed to got over her pretty quickly, although to be honest, we kind of lost him for a while. There was a long time where I kind of forgot he existed. The show never used him at all, and when he popped up again, it was to be a complete and utter arse to Lena, and then suddenly he's in love with her. In an episode, he's telling her, you should be shot. And then, like, 2 episodes later, they're like, you know what? The chemistry between you two is just, on fire. What chemistry? we're going back to this rhetoric which is completely throughout Supergirl, where if someone is mean to you, it means they really like you. If someone's mean to you, don't go near them. You know, there are people out there who, when they like you, they're not a dick. They're not. They're nice to you. Maybe they just shy and kind of can't really speak to you, so they kind of like demurely say hi. But they're not assholes. If someone is an asshole to you, no matter how attractive they are, ignore them, because they're not worth it. They're just people who apparently can't deal with their feelings. They won't suddenly start treating you nice when you date them, which is how that relationship developed. We had Lena getting his washing from the laundry store, and it's like, what? And he's still there being an ass. I see people asking for a dancing wedding and a child. It buys into this theory I have that season 6 is going to be this rushed, forced affair. Because what can the end be? What can the end be? I mean, I don't know what it could be, because there is no story. Kara hasn't developed a meaningful relationship with anyone other than Lena. So, like, you know, you've got a limit on your show. Okay. I mean, like, Supernatural went for like 15 seasons, right? But that's kind of rare. Let's face it, that's kind of rare. But I feel with Supergirl, if it had been done well, if it had been done properly with any kind of purpose, with any kind of meaning, then it could very well have gone for like, I don't know, maybe 10 seasons? You know, let's be realistic. But you need a story, a beginning, which we had, but it feels like everything else is just a mess, a big massive bowl of scattered spaghetti that is tangled and webbed together, and no storyline makes any sense, no character makes any sense because they change on a daily basis. When you write a character, you need to have their personality, you need to have their characteristics, everything. You need to know them, you need to know everything about them. If I have a character in one of my works, no matter how small their part, I know everything about them. I detail their parentage, even that. I go back, I create a family tree for them, no matter how small their part, because I need to know everything about them. The reader may not get to know it, but I need to know it, because I need to know my character. Because if I don't know my character, then my reader won't. Think of in real life. If someone you know starts acting out of character, that's when you begin to know that something is wrong. That they're up to something, or they're sick, but there's something wrong. That's when you know there's something wrong. But in Supergirl, this is just the norm for a character to be out of character, constantly, from one episode to the next. And it's all to push the story, the plot that they are selling that week. See, a character must never bend for the plot. The plot must bend for the character. Because the characters, unless it's required that they need to act out of character for us to know that there's something wrong, then the character must never change. Because, think about it, in real life, you don't. Things happen, and you have to it's how you react to them. You don't change for the events that are thrown at you. You react to them how you are. The sad thing, and what I think people find more sad than anything, it's kind of what I find sad, is that Supergirl still now has so much premise, so much promise, and it could have been great. It could have been amazing. And yet it was ruined. It was never really taken and cherished by its creators. It was never really held as a little baby. When I write something, those characters, they're mine. I love them. When I make a work, it's mine. It's mine. I made it. I created it through sweat and blood and tears and hard work. But this whole show, from its problematic, toxic creators, you had a producer and a showrunner in season 2 who was fired for sexual harassment and was gifted a mighty fine reward. His dominant, ominous presence casts a long shadow over this show, because I don't think it was ever able to free itself from this season 2 premise that suddenly Kara's a doormat. And there's this big, strong, desirable man who is apparently good looking, okay? And all the ladies want him. It's a self-inserted character. Listen, self-inserts never work. For me, they never work. You can put little bits of yourself and little bits of your experiences that you've had in characters. Yes, this is common. It's also a really good way to kind of exercise demons inside you. But when you completely make a character that is what you wish you were, that is also parts of you and your desires and your cravings and how you see women and how you see the people around you, then it's not going to work. Because that character is not going to be likable. Because you're putting in all this, in this case, misogynistic cravings and callings into this one character. And he wasn't popular. He wasn't popular with female, well, apart from the women who actually wanted to shag him. But anyway, but he wasn't popular as a whole, and he wasn't popular with male watchers. He wasn't. I've talked to a lot, and they hated Monel. Hated him. They hated the love triangle they did in season 3, which was pointless. I don't know what Supergirl is. I don't know what it is. I know what it could have been. Everyone knows what it could have been. Finally, I'm going to say something, because this might be unpopular, but it's also very true. The ratings were low because of pointless virtue signaling and fake woke agenda by the creators. And what I mean by this is the way they condescend to viewers. Not every viewer is going to be a feminist, okay? Now, I don't think Supergirl is a feminist show. I've spoken before about how I feel like Supergirl is just 1950s misogynistic ideas wrapped up in a new packaging and hailed as feminism. I've spoken about this before. But not all your viewers are going to be feminists. And that doesn't mean they hate women. It doesn't mean that they think women shouldn't have rights. It means that they're just not feminists. I'm not a feminist. I love to see women kick ass. That's why I was watching the show. And then Alex stopped kicking ass and it just got a bit... Nobody's kicking ass anymore. What's happening? What is going on? But anyway. This woke agenda. So they bring in characters. Fucking hell. So we bring in Kelly, and we bring in Nia, and they shouted from the rooftops, hey, we've got this... Now, I'm going to say it, in the show, they've never actually stated what sexuality Kelly is, because they've never given her any time. We don't know anything about her. Ooh, season 6, we don't know anything about her. She's obviously going to be the character that Alex, our second lead character, is gonna. She's the end game, right? Dancing, right? That's okay. That's cool. But we don't know anything about her. Like, what the fudge? We know she's James's sister, and she was in the military, and her fiance died, and that's it. That's all we know for certain. That's it. That's it. They didn't spend any time on her character. She had no storyline, and yet all she was for the show was woke points. And before you start shouting at me, please wait. Nia, same thing. Trans superhero. The first trans superhero, by the way. But she's only used in one episode when they want to do a woke point. You're smashing these things over the heads of your viewers, and they know these things. They understand them. Now, I'm not going to say everyone is in hate, they don't. I'm not going to say that. But the thing is, if you don't like trans people, you're not going to watch Supergirl. The thing is, if you're racist, you're not going to watch Supergirl because there's black characters in there. It's just simple as that, okay? You're not going to watch something if there's people in it you don't like. Now, this is what I mean. It's important to tell stories that highlight oppression faced by other people. Oppression that we won't understand. I understand this, but there is a way to write these stories, and Supergirl has never been able to write them properly. Look, in season 4, they give us Manchester Black, and they kill him and tell us he's actually not a good guy, when actually he was the good guy. And they give the kind of Nazi character a kind of redemption, and he's suddenly not the bad guy? We shouldn't be mean to the bad guy? Like, what? This is it's just terrible. What's the story here? But this is how you write actual. Because when you create a character, they're not there to be a label. They're not there to be a token. Because whether you're writing a black character, whether you're writing a brown character, whether you're writing a gay character, whether you're writing a trans character, those people are more than their skin color, their sexuality, their gender. Give them a storyline. The point is that they're there, and you're using them respectfully, and through them you're telling a story. And their story might not be about the oppression that they faced, because those people are I hope this doesn't sound bad. They are worth more than that. Their story is more than that. Tell their story. Tell it. That is how you defy. You dare to defy, because they're more than the hate. They are more than the rage that they face from people because of their ignorant beliefs. They are more than all of those things. Tell a story from them. One that doesn't involve that. Supergirl has never been able to do that. Supergirl is that kind of epitome of like white feminism, I guess, if you kind of need to label them as feminists, because they don't seem to understand this. I mean, it's kind of emphasized in season 3 when they kind of like storm into Julia's house. I just hate that scene so much. I hate it. And all the world killers were women of color, and it's just like, we were never actually able to see them as more than those creatures that would kill the earth. When actually, even if we don't focus on Sam, who was kind of like the main character, we have Julia. And Julia, before she knew she had these powers, she's in this moment and she doesn't see it coming, and her friend is in danger, so she pushes her friend out the way and she takes the car. And she doesn't know she's not going to die. She doesn't know it. But she does it anyway because she loves her friend. And we go to Grace. Grace, a doctor, and she sees people suffering every day because they can't afford healthcare. And she gives this, I don't know, it really spoke to me. This speech about how she has to see these people and watch them wither away. And I'm supposed to believe these are the bad guys. And they killed them. and Julia actually saved them all. Yet Monel got the credit. And it was just, hey, Alex has got a new suit. Let's move on now. And they were never spoken of again. It's things like that. You could have brought meaning and heart. If there had been more scenes like the Rain and Supergirl fight sequence, and less about stupid love triangles and getting stupid inane men to show interest in Kara, and when she clearly doesn't and isn't into it, have them continue to pursue her and push her. I mean, I don't know how many times I can tell you this. I mean, how many times I can explain that if someone isn't into you, then there's nothing you can do. It's not your place to change their mind. It's not your place to convince them. It's not your place. Don't do that. You can express your feelings for them. That's okay. Don't make them feel uncomfortable. Don't make them feel weird. But it's not your place to convince them. What you do in that moment is you decide. Am I only around them because I want to, dare I say it, screw them one day? Or am I around them because actually there's something about this person that I like? And if that's not going to happen, then they would be a cool friend. That's what you have to choose. But if you choose the friend route, you are not doing it. You cannot do it to change their mind. Listen, it may be an organic progression that they do see you in this different light. But that can't be your intent, because that's just weird. That means you know better than them. You know what they want, what they need, what they crave. When that's stupid. You shouldn't feel that way about someone you apparently like. The show never actually tackled this. When it was supposed to be this dare to defy show that conquered boundaries and heralded a new age of female superheroes, when they just dumbed Kara down all the time. All the time. I mean, in the last episode of Supergirl, they literally whipped William's shirt off. And who are they writing this for? The people who watch Supergirl are like gay women who are there thirsting over Kara's muscles, okay? Or the ones who are there thirsting over Lena and her boobs, probably. And straight dudes. Who are they writing William's chest for? Who? He's not a popular character. Obviously, 300k viewers turned off. The insertion of his character clearly was like the end. Like, viewers were like, oh, for fuck's sake, not this again. It's Monel without superpowers. So, Supergirl is ending, and it never had a story. Supergirl went for 6 seasons. And beyond treating women like trash, beyond giving a fake, woke take on everything, beyond queerbaiting, beyond treating viewers and fans like pieces of dirt, beyond the trash cast that certain members were and are, I can't tell you what the story is. Maybe Supergirl is the story of how not to write a show. And never, ever, ever, ever watch a show headed by Jessica Quella ever again. And please, Please, stop employing your spouses. They are there because you share a bed with them. Please stop. Do not employ anybody who wears your ring. It is not going to go well for the rest of us. So yeah, season 6. Apparently they're excited, but they've been excited before, and it was a letdown. So I'm not going to get excited about it. To be honest, I don't think I'm going to watch it. I don't care. Supergirl had its time. It had its chance. It could have been great. It could have been amazing. It could have been groundbreaking. It could have been immense. It could have been something that made you hold your breath, made you anticipate every single moment. It could have been something that you could learn from. Good tales, not just cautionary. But other shows are coming up now that are doing those things. Doing those tasks that Supergirl claimed to be doing and want applause for. It won GLAAD awards, but what for? It didn't do anything. I'm just gonna go and watch those other shows. It's more fun. They aren't perfect. Practically hardly any show is, but at least they try. At least there's heart. At least there's desire to tell a story. It's not there in Supergirl, and it never was. As soon as the CW got their hands on Supergirl, it died. Supergirl died. Kara must have been replaced by some other Earth version of her, and the Kara that we had in season 1 is locked away in some dungeon or something. She exists for me only in fan fictions. That's the only place I've truly enjoyed Supergirl, reading fan fictions. For me, the show, or the enjoyment of it, never came from the show. Rare moments maybe, but it was always from fan videos or fan fictions or art. And in that way, the show won't die. But the actual show, yeah, it owed a lot to fans, ships, most probably Supercore in particular. I see a lot of people sad about that. If you've made it this far, it wasn't supposed to be this long, but if you've made it this far, let me say that for a fanon ship, I'm really somebody kind of polices these things. I don't do shipping, as you know, so do whatever you like. I invent ships for my fics from people who have never met and have never been in a scene together. So I'm not gonna police you. But your ship won't die because you are your ship. You, the artists, are your ship. Your fanfic writers are your ships. Supercore existed and lived beautifully in those fiction works. I have read some of the most beautiful stories. I've read some of the most funny stories. I've read some of the most insane stories that made me think twice. The first ever Supercore fiction I ever read, and the first fan fiction of anything I ever read, it was a BDSM one, and let me tell you, yeah. So, I know it seems sad, and, the end of a show that you love, whether you had a love-hate relationship with it or not, is always sad. But the sadness is temporarily. It is not something that is consistent. But take some solace in the fact that you made the show beautiful. The show didn't, the creators didn't, they didn't like it, they didn't want it, they trashed it. You made it beautiful. Every time I scrolled down my timeline and saw these wonderful works of art, and every time I read a fan fiction and scrolled down my YouTube timeline and saw a fan video, you made it beautiful. You did. You are Supergirl. And I'm gonna go now because that sounds kind of weird. But anyway, there is one last season to endure. Until next time, stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.